These cool science facts are definitely the most interesting things you'll listen today. The human stomach can dissolve razor blades. If you ever swallow a razor blade, don't panic. The human body is more capable than you think. Acids are ranked on a scale from 0 to 14, the lower the pH level, the stronger the acid. Human stomach acid is typically 1 to 2, meaning that it has an incredibly strong pH. In a study published in the journal Gastrointestinal Endoscopy, scientists found that the thickened back of a single-edged blade dissolved after 2 hours of immersion in stomach acid. A laser can get trapped in water. A cool thing called total internal reflection happens when you point a laser beam at a jet of flowing water. To demonstrate this phenomenon, PBS Learning Media released a video in which a laser is positioned on one side of a clear tank of water. When the light travels through the water, it is slowed by the heavier particles in the water, effectively trapping the laser beam in the water. Even as the water flow is gradually decreased, the laser beam remains contained inside the jet, until it eventually disappears when the water is turned off completely. Earth's oxygen is produced by the ocean. Have you ever stopped to think where oxygen comes from? Your first thought may be a rainforest, but here's a cool science fact for you. We can thank plant-based marine organisms for all that fresh air, according to the National Oceanic Service. Plankton, seaweed, and other photosynthesizers produce more than half of the world's oxygen. Animals use Earth's magnetic field for orientation. Lost land animals may not be able to find their way home, but sea animals might. According to the US Geological Survey, there is evidence that some animals, like sea turtles and salmon, have the ability to sense the Earth's magnetic field and can use this sense for navigation. A cloud can weigh around 1 million pounds. Your childhood dreams of floating on a weightless cloud may not withstand this science fact. The average cumulus cloud can weigh up to 1 million pounds, according to the US Geological Survey. That's about as heavy as the world's largest jet when it's completely full of cargo and passengers. Soil is full of life. In just 1 teaspoon of soil, there are more microorganisms than people on the planet. Millions of species and billions of organisms, bacteria, algae, microscopic insects, earthworms, beetles, ants, mites, fungi, and more, represent the greatest concentration of biomass anywhere on the planet, according to the US Department of Agriculture. Rats laugh when they're tickled. These creatures are more dynamic than we think. Rats have the ability to laugh when tickled. A video from National Geographic demonstrates that rats respond positively to tickling, and they even chase after the researcher's hand in a playful manner. Bananas are radioactive. Bananas contain potassium, and since potassium decays, that makes the yellow fruit slightly radioactive. But don't worry, you'd need to eat 10 million bananas in one sitting to die of banana-induced radiation poisoning, according to Joe Schwartz of McGill University. Hot water freezes faster than cold water. This may seem counterintuitive, but it's called the Pembo effect. Scientists now believe this is because the velocities of water particles have a specific disposition while they're hot that allows them to freeze more readily. If proven correct, this finding could also be applied to everyday things, like cooling down electronic devices, according to research out of Universidad Carlos III de Madrid. There are more trees on Earth than stars in our galaxy. NASA experts believe there could be anywhere from 100 billion to 400 billion stars in the Milky Way. However, a 2015 paper published in the journal Nature estimated that the number of trees around the world is much higher, 3.04 trillion. Humans have genes from other species. We like to think of humans as being superior to other living creatures, but the reality is, our genome consists of as many as 145 genes that have jumped from bacteria, fungi, other single-celled organisms, and viruses, according to a study published in the journal Genome Biology. But don't worry, humans have a lot of DNA. Scientists believe that there are more than 3 billion base pairs of DNA in human genes and more than 25,000 genes in the human genome, according to an article in Nature. An entire copy of that genome exists in each of the 30 to 40 trillion cells in the human body. It can rain diamonds on other planets. The atmospheres in Neptune, Uranus, and Saturn have such extreme pressure that they can crystallize carbon atoms and turn them into diamonds, American scientist reports. How do we know this science fact? Researchers were able to create the correct conditions in a lab to prove this occurs on Neptune and Uranus. Separately, other researchers speculate that it may rain as much as 2.2 million pounds of diamonds on parts of Saturn every year. There were roughly 2.5 billion T-Rexes on Earth, but not all at the same time. Humans have been marveling at the size of T-Rexes ever since first putting a full skeleton together. Now, thanks to research published in April 2021, scientists have a better idea of exactly how many of them once called Earth their home. According to the team at the University of California, Berkeley, approximately 2.5 billion of these dinosaurs existed across more than 127,000 generations. They reached this estimate by taking into account the dinosaur's body size, sexual maturity, and energy needs. Water can exist in 3 states at once. This is called the triple boil, or triple point, and it is a specific temperature and pressure where materials exist as a gas, a liquid, and a solid simultaneously. The triple point, which is also the only situation where all 3 states of matter can coexist, is different for every material, according to the University of California, Santa Cruz. Water reaches its triple point at just above freezing and at a pressure of 0.006 atm. Helium can work against gravity. When helium is cooled to extreme temperatures, just a few degrees away from absolute zero, it turns into a superfluid, meaning it can flow without friction, Scientific American reports. It can climb up and over the sides of a glass, and it can leak through molecule-thin cracks in a container. Solar flares are incredibly powerful. The energy solar flares release is equivalent to millions of 100 megaton atomic bombs exploding at once, according to NASA. It's a good thing the Earth's atmosphere protects us from their radiation. It's impossible to burp in space. When you burp on Earth, gravity keeps down the solids and liquids from the food you just ate, so only the gas escapes from your mouth. In the absence of gravity, the gas cannot separate from the liquids and solids, so burping essentially turns into puking. Plastic can end up as vanilla flavoring. Researchers have figured out how to transform plastic bottles into vanilla flavoring with genetically engineered bacteria, according to a 2021 study published in the journal Green Chemistry. The authors of the study explain that the demand for vanillin is growing rapidly, given that it's found in a wide variety of food, cosmetic, pharmaceutical, cleaning, and herbicide products. But don't expect to be eating plastic bottle-flavored ice cream anytime soon. This research only demonstrated that this conversion is possible. not whether it is safe for human consumption. About half of your body is bacteria. Experts estimate that the human body consists of 39 trillion bacteria and 30 trillion human cells, a roughly 1 to 1.3 ratio. In the past, researchers thought we were much more bacteria than human, with a ratio of 10 to 1. Men are more likely to be colorblind than women. The genes responsible for the most common type of colorblindness are found on the X chromosome, the National Eye Institute explains. Even if women have the genes on one of their two X chromosomes, a properly functioning gene on the other one makes up for that loss. If men inherit the gene on their only X chromosome, they'll become colorblind. We have no idea what most of the universe looks like. About 96% of the universe is made up of dark matter and dark energy, which are undetectable to humans, Space.com reports. Scientists believe this is because the particles that make up these substances don't interact with regular matter or light. Bats don't get sick from most viruses. And yup, that includes coronaviruses. Bats can, of course, contract and spread viruses, but according to research funded by the European Commission, they also have plenty of genes responsible for antiviral activity, keeping them out of harm's way. One exception to this is rabies, although according to Thomas Kepler, a professor of microbiology at Boston University, while bats occasionally get sick from rabies, it rarely kills them. Beer is twice as fizzy as champagne. While 1 flute of champagne produces about 1 million bubbles, a half pint of beer creates around 2 million bubbles, according to a 2021 study published in the journal ACS Omega. So why does this matter? More bubbles result in a more intense flavor. Of course, that's not to say that beer and champagne are in any way comparable to each other in taste, they just happen to be the beverages the researchers selected to compare to their results for context. Humans are capable of producing venom. Believe it or not, while humans do not currently produce venom, technically, we could. In fact, all reptiles and mammals have that capability, according to an article published in the journal Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences. Basically, we have all the tools we need, and it's up to evolution to get us there. Please subscribe for more videos.